Oh, yeah. Baby, you have arrived, my friend. Whoever you are out there, you're just messing around, flipping, stumbling on the internet, surfing. That was the word about 20 years ago for the internet, but now um, it's back to flipping here on the Clark the Shark show because you flipped upon. Dude, you flipped out tonight because you have found death right here on the Clark the Shark Talk Radio. Incredible show, you guys. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but when I'm talking about death, this three-piece band with the incredible songs and incredible drumming. Now, to say this band didn't, the fate it got is like worse than death or something. Like, okay, they met up with the genius Clive Davis, and of course they should have been called Death, but he persuaded them not to call the band that, and opted to never sign Death to a pro contract about 1975. And these guys have been around in some incarnation since 64. And of course, I remember their tapes and, scratchy vinyls around and hearing them in the 80s, you guys, and saying, what an incredible, I know it's cliche to call them ahead of their time, but these songs were not recorded in 1971, as a lot of people say. These are from 75, but it doesn't matter. It's almost like they're still ahead of their time, ahead of punk, but very much steeped, if you will, in metal, hard rock, garage. Just incredible melodic music by three black dudes from Detroit, you guys. Brothers. I know this other band from Florida called the Reverse Engineers. They used to be called Emmett Brown, and they are brothers. I love bands of brothers. And then sometimes it's weird. You have three brothers and then two guys who aren't. And it's like the Kinks or something. It gets all convoluted, but I still love it. Me, Clark the Shark, right here on the fun and interesting and informative Clark the Shark show from the golden EIB Sharkerphone people. It's not a microphone because I'm talking about death. A band that reminds me of my own band, The Greenhouse Effect. There are a lot of similarities. There's three guys, and they were really fucking awesome, and then they went nowhere. And then they, bitched about it, futility, bad luck, a black cloud hanging over the old story. But maybe it was all somehow meant to be. Even for me, yours truly, Clark the Shark, I may die and never know, or maybe God will one day inform me and he'll show me what these drones are or UFOs or orbs flying around us right now. I would sure like to know. I know a lot of you out there think I'm doing it, me, Clark the Shark, here in the Sharkulation, but I'm not. For right now, I'm merely speaking of death, which is something that should happen to you all. Especially if you listen to this album. If you want to hear melodic Alice Cooper meets Arthur Lee in Love, meets Steppenwolf, meets the MC5, Stooges, Iggy Pop, meets Hendrix and The Who live, dude. The Beatles, Helter Skelter, maybe cranked even louder. And I get this Ted Nugent vibe, dude, and the Amboy Dukes too. And I even get like a 70s, like, I don't know, the Jay Giles band or... It's all here, you guys. It's just like I get a Montrose, like Sammy Hagar vibe. You guys, I'm just weird like that. Me, Clark the Shark. But this is way too punk rock. And I mean all over this album, you guys. And yet it's very much hard rocking metal and garage. It is so weird. It's one of the greatest albums ever recorded, and it's just demos. And when I say to you guys that this reminds me of Clark the Shark and GE, it doesn't sound like us and we don't sound like it. I don't mean it like that. I mean it like just their whole story of bad luck, or they met people in the industry, and then it just, for whatever reason, it didn't happen. But you guys, no matter what, death happened. And it still happens, you guys, every day. Anyone who listens to this, it's three brothers. I love it, you guys. Three black dudes, and that's irrelevant, dude. I don't care what color they are. The Stars, All Music gives it should give it a 5, but it's 4.5. And dude, who is this? Who? Tiny Mixtapes, please. What is that, like rap? I don't even know, but dude, Pitchfork Media gives it 7 out of 10. Come on, you guys. Death could only get a 10 out of 10. I mean, I'm sure the cowards at Rolling Stone would slobber all over this. Metacritic, 76 out of 100. You guys, forget these reviews. These stars are wrong and irrelevant or something. It only matters what Clark the Shark thinks, and I give this an 11 out of 10. How's that? It's just demos, you guys, but usually just demos, especially when they're like $1 million demos, are the best things in the world right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And Keep on Knocking, it almost starts with like a Led Zepp type thing at the start. Of course, the drumming is awesome all over this whole entire album, you guys. But I get an Arthur Lee meets Alice Cooper vibe from Keep on Knocking. I do, you guys. A little Hendrix, a little Stooges. I mean, it's black dudes. Come on. It's going to sound Detroit, Rock City, but meets like Hendrix. And it's tighter, though, and better or something. It's cleaner. They don't make mistakes. It's very technical, you guys. It's almost too good for its own good. And that's what they would say about I, yours truly, Clark the Shark. Like, Shark, you just need to make pop songs and quit with all this technicality. And eventually I would, and I did, and maybe to my detriment right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But Rock and Roll Victim, track 2, you could tell the Tubes loved it. Rock and Roll Victim is just incredible. Alice Cooper, the Stooges, and then I could see like maybe the Bad Brains getting into this. There's definitely like a Ted Nugent and MC5 vibe over and in every song, you guys. But Rock and Roll Victim is incredible, track 2. Now, track 3, Let the World Turn. I get the Who, Tommy, like vibe at the beginning before it busts into just this Arthur Lee and Love shit that's incredible. And for a minute or two, it almost sounds like Prince. I'm not kidding, you guys. Let the World Turn is the best song on the album. Incredible, you guys. And when you listen to this album up loud, you're going to think it's the greatest album you've ever heard. I'm not kidding. You're a Prisoner, incredible. Every song, the songwriting's incredible. It is, you guys. I get a vibe like the Tubes, Fee Waybill wanted to write songs like You're a Prisoner. I do. But certainly there's, the Alice Cooper thing is always present. And maybe, if people saw The Who live, wanting to crank it out like that. Now, where this thing gets punk is side 2 with track 1, side B, or track 5, Freaking Out. This song is so awesome, you guys. It's very punk. And perhaps this band heard the punk scene in 75, or maybe it heard this band, you guys. Consider that. But a very Tubes vibe. I also hear like Cream in all of this, you guys. I do. But Freaking Out is probably the best song on the album, but I say that about every single song. Where do we go from here? Track 2, side B, or track 6. It's just awesome, you guys. MC5, Ted Nugent, Alice Cooper, The Who live, melodic, atmospheric, garage, but beyond a garage, a polished, tight garage, you guys. Now, these guys were a funk band before, like a soul project. Before then, they just go full-blown Steppenwolf or something, you guys. But very punky. It could be accepted by any crowd, punk, metal, hard rock. To their detriment, they're black dudes, and probably the white audience would never really accept them, and Clive Davis knew that, perhaps. But track 3, side B, track 7 overall in general, Politician in My Eyes, simply a classic that we all know, you guys. Certainly me, Clark the Shark. Unbelievably awesome Arthur Lee in Love, but cranked up to 12, not 11, you guys. What a song. The drumming is so tight and incredible on all these songs. Man, this band really got screwed by history. But who knows, maybe up in heaven, for the one guy that died of lung cancer. It had to be, you guys, just like me, Clark the Shark. I don't know. But very Detroit, Rock City, you guys. A very Detroit sound, but almost like a UK British insanity, late 60s, meets Steppenwolf and meets just rock and roll, you guys, in a garage, but just real kick-ass. You might even hear like the Ramones if you listen hard enough, you guys. Death, the band, you guys. David Hackney, Bobby Hackney. And this drummer's super influential on me, yours truly, Clark the Shark, Dennis Hackney. What a drummer, what a band. Incredible. Screw Clive Davis, man. What an idiot. How could he pass on this band? One of the greatest bands of all time. Not plural, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark Talk Radio Extravaganza, where I just gave you Death. An album you have to buy. Support this at Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. I don't care if you're young or old. If you're 18 years old right here in 2024, today is December 17, Tuesday. I know what day it is, you guys, because at CubeSmart Storage, they don't let you make partial payments. They don't let you pay the past month. If you fall behind, they put it all together, and then they stack late fees on top of everything. So if you owed $360, suddenly you owe $900. If you miss that day, it's like Obamacare or something, you guys. Like if you're late by 2 minutes, the nurse is like, we have to reschedule you for 45 days from now. It's kind of like that, you guys, but maybe even worse. CubeSmart Self-Storage. I recommend don't use them. Don't use any storage. In fact, just burn everything you have or sell it before you store one damn thing at CubeSmart. Right here on the Clark the Shark Talk Radio show for hard-hitting, important politics reviews, your lifetime. You need to come to me, Clark the Shark. I'm like that computer, the old man in the cave. And if you don't come to me, you will die. You guys, you will. And if I ever die, all of you will die too. it will be a case of death. I'm not kidding you guys. I just gave you the greatest review and the only review that you'll ever want or that you will ever need of a band that influenced me, Clark the Shark, to form the Greenhouse Effect. I remember in the South Bay, Redondo Beach, the guy Mike O'Brien and other guys telling me, you got to hear Death, dude. And I looked for these albums and I couldn't find them. This one is a re-release, 2009, and there was another one in 2011. But these guys were on cassettes, I remember, where people would take one of those white or gray cassettes in the 80s and they would erase everything on it. It would have like, Journey or something on it or Foreigner, and they would erase it with Death. They would, you guys. And I got a hold of one or two of these cassettes. And when I played this thing, it's a little bit like that band called A Noise Agency from 1985. A lot of people can't find that music, but you guys you must find that band. You got to find out where they got the idea for Blake Douchebag, and it wasn't me. It comes from A Noise Agency. Sure, they probably ripped off the Minutemen and other three-piece punk bands back in the day, as did I, Clark the Shark. But they had their sights on taking it commercial, and so too did yours truly, Clark the Shark. But as we all know, in the world of three-piece bands, and I love them, from the James Gang to, Grand Funk to Cream. I call The Who a three-piece band. They basically are, even though they're not. You could make a case that Zeppelin is too. They're really not, you guys, but Death certainly was. And my band, GE, the Greenhouse Effect, was. And unfortunately for Death, A Noise Agency, and myself, Clark the Shark, none of us made the big time. But Blake Douchebag did. And they later found him dead in his greenhouse in his backyard with a shotgun across his chest. And he faced death. Because it looks to me, Clark the Shark, like he messed with the Holy Trinity. And I'm not talking about me or my band. I'm talking about death. That's right, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark. Incredible show where you got to get this music wherever you can find it. If you can find one of those old scratchy cassettes from the 80s, dude, fuck it. If you can find one from the 70s, that thing is worth $3,000. I'm not kidding. If you can prove you've got a Death cassette, maybe even, I'm not sure, you guys, but there might be some of these where Clive Davis not only funded it, but he produced it. His name might even be on the cassette. If you can find that one from 1975 or 76, oh baby, you have found something that you could probably retire right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But whatever you do, get all songs by Death. It's not Alice Cooper. It's not the Tubes. It's not the Ramones. It's not the Bad Brains. It's not the Who, you guys. It's not Arthur Lee in Love or Jimi Hendrix. It is its own sound completely. It is its own style. And it's almost like it invented everything. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And I'm out of here. Peace, brothers.